Black people are so obsessed with marriage that, you know what, we have better things to be worried about. For instance, poverty. All right? Really. I thought it was common sense, but clearly common sense is not so common. The family unit, the nuclear family unit, is one of the easiest and most basic ways of wealth building, particularly if you as a woman pick the right man to be married to. If you pick a man who's responsible, if you pick a man who provides, a man who protects, a man who stands on his word, a man who takes care of his family, and then you do your bit, that is where wealth begins. So I'm aware of all the choices that you have. But while we have these choices, can we make the right choices that actually benefit us, not injure us? There's something called the feminization of poverty. The easiest way for a person to be poor is through who you marry and choose to have kids with. Same way, the easiest way for a woman to become wealthy is who you choose to marry and have kids with. Hi there, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, karibu sana. If you're a returning subscriber, karibu. And if you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do, alright? So, it's been a hot minute since I've been on here on live video. I hope you missed me. I dressed up just for you. I'm kidding. I'm going for a wedding, so chick gotta look fly, right? You can check the entire outfit, including the shoes and handbag, on my Instagram, same name, Kangai Kenya. So a couple of weeks ago, I posted a video talking about my 2 non-negotiables, on which I said that my 2 non-negotiables were: 1, I'm not going to cohabit with a man who's not my husband, and 2, I was not going to have children out of wedlock. Now, those 2 standards were meant for me. I was not trying to preach the gospel of non-cohabitation and preach the gospel of not having children out of wedlock or setting the standard for anybody. I was merely just sharing what works for me, all right? And my standard was based on what I saw around me, how ladies my age were getting pregnant very, very early on, and how that really changed the course of their lives. And so I made a conscious decision to make different choices, to live my life in a very different way. So last week, there was this lady who trended. I'll post her video. I'll post the link of her video on in the description, and she basically reiterated what I have been thinking throughout all these years. And she essentially said that a man who asks you to bear his children without first making the commitment to marry you is actually trapping you. And in my opinion, they're not just trapping you, they have nefarious intentions more than just trapping you, because having a children is a lifelong commitment. And if a man does not take the first step to first be committed to you as a woman, then it does not make sense how he would then want to have a child with you. For me personally, that means that he wants an easy access to you for the rest of his life. And it doesn't necessarily just mean access in terms of access to your body. It can be access in terms of your time, in terms of your emotions, because you'll basically be linked to this person for the rest of your life. And that's why as a woman, you have to be very careful whom you choose to have children with. So anyway, so this lady went on to say that this man does not want you or does not like you like that. Because why else would somebody want you to have their children without first making the initial commitment of marrying you? You see, marriage is security for a woman. And yes, marriage does not guarantee everything, but marriage is security for a woman. The greatest intention that a man can show you, first and foremost, is by marrying you, all right? By making that very major commitment, and then they can reap the benefits of having children and all these other things. So for a man to actually say that they want a child with you, but they're not willing to make a commitment to you, that man does not even like you. Leave alone love. That man does not like you. And so I posted my sentiments in one of the groups I am on Facebook, yeah? And somebody made a very, very, very interesting comment now. Thank Lord Jesus. I'm not easily triggered. That I do not necessarily go down to some people's levels. I mean, it's a free society. You're entitled to your level, but are you not entitled to stupidity? I'm sorry. And I'm not going to go down to your level to prove whether you're right or wrong or stupid. It's just not my thing. All right. So anyway, so this lady, one of the ladies mentioned that, you know what, black people are so obsessed with marriage. Then somebody else went on to mention after, now as a response to whatever she was saying, in support actually, that, you know what, we have better things to be worried about. For instance, poverty. All right. Really. I thought it was common sense, but clearly common sense is not so common. The family unit, the nuclear family unit, is one of the easiest and most basic ways of wealth building, particularly if you as a woman pick the right man to be married to. If you pick a man who's responsible, if you pick a man who provides, a man who protects, a man who stands on his word, a man who takes care of his family, and then you do your bit, that is where wealth begins. I know some women find themselves a single mom for whatever reason, and I'll honor those reasons. But let's be honest. One of the simplest types of wealth you can give your child is to have a locked-in family unit, to have a mother, a father, and all the children. That sense of safety and security is where you now start building the stability enough for not just the two of you, but for your children also to build their wealth. All right? So for this lady to say, I'm even talking in slow motion just in case, for this lady to say that we have better things to worry about, such as poverty, the easiest way for a person to be poor is through who you marry and choose to have kids with. Same way, the easiest way for a woman to become wealthy is who you choose to marry and have kids with. So, what more easier way is there for you to actually build wealth as a person, as a woman to be specific? And I'm not talking about marrying a wealthy man. I'm talking about marrying a responsible man who is hardworking, who's ambitious, who's good with money, who is generous, because generous way. There are some stingy wealthy people I have met in this life. Ugh. Anyway, so it did not make sense to me how she would dismiss marriage and make it look like we are, if anything, we are not obsessed enough with marriage. Let me just say that. Because anybody who understands the value of marriage understands just how crucial and grounding marriage can be, not just for the two people, that is the wife and the husband, but for the children. Working together to build something that lasts, working together to build wealth, working together to, you know, build a legacy, working together. So I just looked at this comment, these two comments, and I was like, why? Anyway, people need salvation. Again, I'm very aware not everybody wants to be married. I know we're in the 21st century, so really, I'm very aware not everybody wants to get married. I'm very aware we are feminists, or most of you are feminists. So you have the right to have children or not have children, to marry, not have children, to marry or not to marry. So I'm aware of all the choices that you have. But while we have these choices, can we make the right choices that actually benefit us, not injure us? There's something called the feminization of poverty. One of the things I teach is gender, so maybe that's why. So there's something called the feminization of poverty. And one of the markers of feminization of poverty is, first and foremost, obviously, men, even for the same job, tend to be paid much higher for their labor than women. Second thing is that women occupy majorly the private spaces and carry out jobs that are in the private sphere, while men are able to be in the public spaces, where obviously they're able to commoditize their skills and they get paid more. So that's why you find some women, when they opt to be stay-at-home mom, they look as if they're not working yet. I mean, by virtue of the fact that they choose to tend the home, they're actually making it possible for the man to go out and make the money. They're making that home, you know, they're removing that mental load from the man. But number three is that when a husband dies, a woman can very easily become poor. When a woman divorces, they can very easily become poor because of obviously our labor is not as prized as the man's. Yeah. Number two, the burden of raising kids obviously slows us down. Yes. So there is feminization of poverty is a real thing, and that's why I will never cease to remind you: pick the father of your children, vet them very highly. I think some of us vet cars that we are buying much more highly than we vet the men we let into our lives. So vet the men you let into your life, the men you specifically pick to be the fathers of your children very highly. And even more importantly, if you can, actually it should be a standard. Maybe let me start preaching. Marry before you have children. For your safety and security, and for your children's safety and security. If for nothing else, for the rights that you're going to get out of marriage. Because a baby mama, just be honest, there are levels to this. A baby mama is very different from a divorcee woman and a widow. A divorcee and a widow were first wives. A baby mama, you just happened to have a child with that man. They did not choose you, they just had a child with you. But for a widow and for divorcee, they first chose you, then you ended up having children. And this again does not mean that I'm trying to make baby mamas look to be less than, but let's be honest, we are fickle like that as human beings. We judge. We do not want to say it out loud, but we judge. And particularly men are very market oriented, and if there's somebody who's very judgmental, it's the man. And I'm not trying to say again that if you're a baby mama, you'll not get married, blah blah blah, your value is less. No, but it just is what it is. Men will judge, people will judge. Yes. So if you can, again, yes, be obsessed with marriage, but be obsessed with it in doing it in the right way, vetting the man before he even marries you. Check where he works, check how much he earns, check does he have ambition, what is his vision, is it aligned to what you want, is the type of family that he wants what you want. Okay. Even more importantly, if he allows you to be in your soft feminine receiving energy, even better. Or you think this skin just glows by itself? Do you want to know my skincare? My skincare is that I'm very well taken care of. Is that somebody somewhere is being responsible, somebody somewhere is providing and protecting and ensuring that me and my baby, our family, is grounded, is stable, and lacks for nothing. That is the value of family. So yes, in case you want to know my skincare, that's the secret. Serial Rambo. But seriously though, marriage is a beautiful thing. Pick, obviously, again, like I mentioned, pick and vet the men thoroughly. But even more importantly, let's not diminish the value of marriage. Let's not make it sound like black people, according to this lady, are obsessed with marriage. We aren't obsessed enough, because if we were, like the Asians are, if we were, like the Arabs are, if we were, then we'd be making the right choices and building strong families. And that for me is where the wealth begins. You start by building a strong nuclear family, because if you look at scholars like, what's his name? Talcott Parsons, who talks about the theory of state, and one of them is the sociology. If you look at the sociological theory of state, right, it starts at the family. It first appreciates that you cannot look at the state, the macro, without first appreciating the micro, which is the family unit. And we cannot talk about strong families, we cannot talk about wealth and devalue marriage, right? Again, you have every choice to make. It's your life. You can choose as a feminist to live your life as you choose to. But let's not diminish marriage. Let's not diminish the value of marriage. Let's even not diminish the benefits that us as women, yes, of course, it confers both rights and obligations, okay? Let's not diminish the joys and the rights that we get to enjoy as women. And if you've made a mistake and had kids out of wedlock, if you've made a mistake and cohabited, I think you still have room for correction. That's what I feel. I match the man to the AG's office or something. Anyway, but the point is, let's not diminish marriage, all right? So Until next time, keep shining, keep smiling. Please check out my IG for the full outfit details. Oh, this dress is on another. It's just yummy. Oh, I am so feeling myself. I'm going for a wedding and my daughter is wearing a baby pink. So we're going to be looking yummy, both of us. I can't wait to show up and show off. So until next time, toodles.